Hello and welcome to our future state video for the LINQ utility demo. We've gone through the exercise of looking at the current state and finding some areas that we can automate, remove altogether, or implement a system to improve on. In this scenario, the customer decides to eliminate paper map printing to the extent possible, automate the GIS design process where possible, and to move to a mobile mapping tool. If you recall, in the current state, we identified several areas for improvement. Our operating costs are high, as you can see here. We're relying too much on paper. And we'll go to the system summary to take a look at that. And we have the designer doing some activities that could be automated to ease the burden on them. And we'll go to the People dashboard to take a look at that. For example, we see here that the designer spends a lot of time on the heavily manual and paper-driven task of creating a work packet. To get a much deeper view into the impact of the changes, we'll use the same dashboards we used on the current state. We've taken a process that was $6.8 million in operating costs a year and reduced it to $1.7 million. You can see that much of the savings are due to automating manual tasks. For example, if we take a look at paper and we come over here to the System Summary Insight, we can see that only 2.4% of the total information in the system relies on paper anymore, whereas in the current state it was closer to 96%. Also, if we come over here and we search on paper within the model, we can see that there is only one node in the model that actually relies on paper anymore. Let's go back to the People dashboard and look at the designer. We see that we have reduced the number of actions performed and information assets produced while allowing them to focus on the highest value items, like doing the design. There are still some things they need to be involved in, like the permit requests and creating clearance orders, but we've reduced the actions in this workflow. And down here you can see the future of the designer role for this process. You can also see that we have reduced the expected cost of the design process by more than half. Then, looking at the system summary, we have automated 45% of the process where it was 0 before. And we've gone from 11 to 8 systems. 4 unique systems are now automating 19 actions, and clicking here, you can see what those systems are. Clicking here, you can see all the information that each system delivers and the value of that information. Then, moving to the individual summary panel, you can see each system, the information produced by that system, and the total amount of information reliant on this system throughout the process. Let's switch over to the cost allocation insight. In the current state, it was $6.89 million annually to run this process. With all these changes, when it's up and going, the total annual operating cost will be $1.69 million, and you can see how it breaks down here. Another powerful feature of LINQ is the ability to compare 2 sketches. This is a great place to begin with senior management when discussing plans for the future. In this summary, we can identify the cost and time reduction. Notice here, we can see a reduction of $5.19 million and 58,900 hours. Now let's dig into the People Systems Action and Information. In the Unique Systems filter, the systems that are unique in Sketch 1 are effectively being removed from the process as they no longer exist in the future state or Sketch 2. The unique systems in Sketch 2 are being introduced into the organization. In other words, they're new to the organization. It is worth emphasizing here that the People and Systems Compare function will drive critical change management requirements, like clearly identifying how specific roles will change and which systems will be retired. In the People filter, Sketch 1 unique roles have been removed from this process. Focusing on the on-site printer contractor, there is $1.7 million in revenue that the contractor is about to lose. We need to prepare for that. Are they going to push back? What are the terms of the contract? Things like that need to be considered. Where there are roles common to both, these roles are not going away. But what they are going to do in those roles might change. Again, this requires going back to the People dashboard and looking at individual roles and the actions that they take. The future state model is also a great tool for supporting vendor selection. For example, in this case, if the customer is going to put out an RFP for a GIS, they could meet with the shortlist vendors to model what a future state would look like with each vendor. They could then use the compare function to determine which vendor will deliver the most value to the organization. This would provide valuable, objective, data-driven inputs to your vendor selection process. Where new things are being introduced, it almost always requires some level of software development. Many teams these days are using agile methodologies to manage new development work. LINQ can also help with that. Looking at the compare function again, the items we noted for change management can also feed into our agile processes. For example, let's look at the unique actions filter. Sketch 2 has 5 unique or new actions. If we jump over to the sketch and search on one of those actions like this, we can use tags to flag the items we want to add to our agile process. First, we tag the LINQ set, which will be our epic. Then we tag the action as a user story. Later, we might find that the user story needs to be broken down into several development subtasks, which is fine. You may or may not choose to model each task in LINQ. Finally, we can add a property to actions called Agile Status. You then create a pick list of status values to manage the status of your development. You can do the same for the status of your epic on the LINQ set. Thank you for spending your time with us. We hope you found this valuable. Please join us in our next video where we'll use the LINQ Sketch Compare function along with an implementation model to develop a business case for change.